Many people fall in love with filmmaking because of the art of it, but as soon as you turn it into your full-time job, art often takes the back seat to getting consistent work that pays the bills. A question that I get asked often is, when's the right time to go full-time as a filmmaker? And the answer to that question is going to be different for everybody, but there's really two things to consider. There's the mathematical side to the decision, and then the personal fulfillment side to the decision. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the things that I considered before going full-time with my production company. Let's start with the math. I think it's really important to take an honest look at what you're able to make in production and weigh that against your monthly overhead. So all of the basic bills that you need to cover each month, but then you need to add the business expenses. Okay, so I had Alicia come in to rattle off all the things that we spend money on every month.
So our fixed expenses are payroll, automobile expenses, lots of different subscriptions, postage, product research, office supplies, gear supplies, website hosting, company insurance, auto insurance, medical insurance, utilities, so internet, telephone expense, and then the rest, and taxes and merchant fees. And then project costs are much more variable, but that includes travel, which would be lodging and flights and car rentals and meals and craft services, props and wardrobe, data storage, equipment rentals, music licensing, other different types of licenses and permits, contract labor, location expenses, special project expenses, legal fees. How's that?
So I think it goes without saying that there's a lot more to owning a production company than just being a good filmmaker. And all of these new expenses will become that much more important on a regular basis if filmmaking is going to be your sole income. Once you have that number, then it gives you a reference point to start gauging how much you're making. And chances are you're already working as a freelance filmmaker while juggling a day job. And if that's the case, then having this number will give you a reference of how much you're generating freelance and whether or not by removing your day job, if you're going to be able to offset to then meet that number. It's a big leap of faith to pull the plug on a day job and commit to having guaranteed reoccurring clients. But here's the thing, math isn't everything. Filmmaking is an art form, and it comes from a very personal space within somebody. And feeling fulfilled and connected in doing this work, I think, is one of the secret ingredients to having your work mean something not only to the client, but also to the viewers. And there's always a risk of taking something that you're really passionate about and turning it into your full-time job. For some people, that's the best case scenario, and other people, that can be the thing that kills the passion. And it's really important that you understand where you are on that spectrum. And I think that where you are on that can also change over time. It's kind of ebbed and flowed for me over the years. And the better you understand that, hopefully the more you'll be able to catch some of the warning signs that maybe you're losing the passion. And honestly, I compromise a lot of my artistic vision in order to meet clients where they're at. And it's important that as a service provider, you're making content that's actually going to benefit them and their message and the way that they're trying to interface with their clients. And as an artist, sometimes that's hard to let go of maybe a sense of inspiration that you might want to take the piece, but if it's not ultimately going to be effective for them, you need to bring it back to their vision and find their voice with them. I tend to like my films really dark and moody and emotionally loaded, and that's not always the best formula for selling the local public market or something like that. And so one of the reoccurring challenges is to kind of dampen maybe your creative voice and still bring your own personal touch to the film, but to meet clients where they are. You know, it's a touchy-feely balancing act to not steamroll a project and not make it too much of something that it shouldn't be. I've experienced firsthand where as soon as my livelihood depended on me getting work, it becomes a priority to say yes to projects that pay. And from the perspective of a service provider, this shouldn't be an issue. That's how businesses are supposed to work. But as an artist, it's not uncommon to experience burnout if enough projects aren't as inspiring to me as an artist. This is why having a core mission, vision, and values statement in place is really important. Putting guardrails around what you provide as a business will help keep your vision in line and will help you build a consistent brand and hopefully help prevent burnout. So ask yourself, is this the kind of work that you actually want to do day to day, not just in your imagination? The best time to go full-time is when the math and the meaning line up. You can pay your bills and you can feel driven and inspired to do the work, not just pushed away from your current job. Filmmaking is not a quick, easy way to make a buck, but to feel the drive to leave your day job and go full-time, it has to mean more to you than just money. There are a lot more efficient ways to make money out there. I left a full-time, comfortable teaching job to pursue my production company full-time, and frankly, it was a huge risk. The numbers checked out, but I didn't necessarily have a safety net. And if I could go back, one thing that I would do differently is I would try to work alone longer than I did in contract help. But right out the gate, I hired 2 employees and I got an office. So I created a lot of overhead for myself on day 1. We made it through, but it wasn't easy. And frankly, it's all thanks to the patience of my employees at the time and their willingness to work with me during the slow periods. So thanks guys, love you. So if you're sitting there wondering if you should make the jump, look at your numbers and check in with your gut, and wait until those 2 answers are pointing in the same direction. I would also check in with your loved ones or the people who know you best, because in some ways they may know more about you than you know about yourself. Oh, there goes my dog. So if you've already made the leap to full-time, or you're thinking about it, I would love to hear your story. Feel free to reach out. See you next time.